Okay, so I start by just drawing out my perspective with pencil and my marker paper. Please excuse my head getting in the way. Try to remember that next time I do one of these videos not to get close to my paper. But you'll notice I have two pieces of copy paper taped to either side of my marker paper, and I do this so that I can push my vanishing points further away, and this will give me a more realistic, less distorted perspective. I didn't record the whole process of drawing in my perspective, simply because that's not the point of this video. So I recorded part of it, and I've sped it up so you can just kind of see the process, but you should be familiar with the basic perspective sketching at this point. And once I'm done, I go over it with ink, and I just freehand it. I don't use a ruler with the ink. And then I start rendering. So I will pick back up then. Okay, now I'm starting to render, and I just chose the lightest gray I had, and I am rendering everywhere where I want to have shadow. That includes walls. Both of the walls with the windows on them will be shaded with the light gray. The door frame with the panels in the door, the corners of the wall, and everywhere the wall meets the floor. Of course, underneath the desk will be shaded, as well as underneath the dresser, and around the window frames. So I start with my lightest gray marker, and I will continue to build my shadows from lightest to dark. So as you watch, just note where I continue to layer. I don't go from one color to the other without layering on top of each. We'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go. I'm running away from this pain. I'm trying to find a new way where the sun's shining down on my face. I'm running away. You're in a toxic relationship. Time to be free. Okay guys, so we're getting towards the end of the first part of the rendering process. So you can see I have gone to the darkest gray I have, and I am putting in the deepest of shadows. At this point, this is where I could finish if I wanted to just show the form of the space and the layout, the basic idea, without fully rendering all the materials in color. So here I've just rendered shadow, and by default rendered light, through the contrast. You can see it's very quick, very sketchy. I did not take the time to blend anything, and that's okay. This would be what I would do if I wanted a quick rendering sketch to present my clients without spending an enormous amount of time on it. The next step will be to go in and start blending to add color, materials, and enhance the light and shadow. So that's what I will do next. Okay guys, so what I'm doing is I start by going over my shadows again with my light gray marker. I didn't even use my colorless blender. I'm just using my light marker to kind of pick up the darker ink and push it around to help me blend. I'm not really looking for a fully refined rendering as my ultimate goal for this. This is kind of an in-between a process sketch and a really refined interior rendering. So again, I'm just going over enhancing some shadow, blending it out, and then I will start adding color to different areas and rendering some more of the materials.
I just want you, I just want you, the words I never said but wanted to. I'm losing you, I'm losing you, oh, but these thoughts won't let you go, they keep running back to you. Can't look the other way. I'm chasing starlight to find a start away. Breathe it in. It's just now. We're just falling, and we won't always free fall back to. I'm just starting to learn. I've always been chasing.
wandering eyes aren't meant for me. They're hypnotized and growing colder. This kind of love is not for me. I gave you all that I could give.
Okay, so here I'm just using a pen to add some more depth and definition to my perspective, creating some shadow for the area rug, outlining some elements to make them stand out a bit more and to either just give their edges a bit more crispness or to bring them forward a bit. So I define the edges of the door frame and all the walls where they meet the ceiling. And the next step will be to come in with colored pencil and add more detail, and then I finish with a white gel pen to add my final highlights.
I gave you all that I could give.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left.
Okay, so I am using my white gel pen, as I mentioned before, to add some highlights to the desk legs. I use a gel pen because it is a little bit brighter than a white colored pencil against the black of the wood there. I'm adding highlights to the metal legs of the chair and the metal on the card catalog's handles. I also added some glare on my picture frames because light from the opposite window would reflect on those. And then finally I used white on the Dreamcatcher to make it pop. This is the finished piece. And again, as I mentioned before, this isn't a fully refined rendering. If I was doing this as a finished final presentation for a project to my clients, I would of course would have rendered the tabletop of the desk, the flooring material, and if the ceiling was anything other than white drywall, I would render that as well. And I would probably have put some trees or contextual elements behind the glass to give it some more context, help the client to relate to the space a bit more. But again, this would be something I would present to a client as part of process work to show them my ideas. When you're working on process work, you don't want to spend an enormous amount of time communicating your idea. You want to actually spend the majority of your time designing. I made the walls in the two corner walls darker than they actually are to send them further back into the background, and left the wall that the door is on wider so it would come forward. And then final touches were I used a light gray on the windows to add some glare, as well as on the glass on the picture frames, again, to add glare to communicate that it was reflective. And again, I did not render the flooring material because that was not necessary. I wanted the viewer to focus really on how the patterns of the lampshade and the area rug would play together, and in context with the designs on the desk legs and the warmer wood of the card catalog. So I hope you enjoyed this, or at least found it helpful, and please be kind because this is the first video tutorial I've made of this sort, so always a learning process. Alright, bye.